The opportunity for me to be the Public Information Officer for the Tampa Field Division came to me in September 2016. The special agent in charge talked to me and told me that he thought that I would be a good representative for the agency. I took on the extra challenge of having two roles because for me it was a challenge, and I love to have a challenge. I had been an area supervisor for quite some time, and I believe that change, particularly in your occupation, keeps you fresh. I wasn't so concerned about doing two jobs. I was more concerned about doing two jobs well. The more challenging parts of the PIO position is if you're going to do it right, you have to break it into different segments. Because now with the Department of Justice using social media, which they have been for some time, it has really created another layer, almost like another position of marketing our brand to the public and selling what we do in terms of making arrests or working with our law enforcement partners. I am very fortunate in our field division because I have someone that's able to help me with our social media platforms, and that takes a lot of my responsibility away so that I'm able to really focus on the needs of the special agent in charge and his federal law enforcement partners, as well as the needs of ATF headquarters. I began to reach out to public information officers that I knew, that I respected, that did their job well, and they gave me a lot of really good feedback. I think the more challenging thing for me was being able to perform in an entirely new role, in an entirely different field for anything that I had previously trained for. The best way that I found over the past 5+ years to balance that role for myself is to be highly organized, making sure that I'm taking care of the priority of each job at any given time during the day, and it's constantly switching, so I'm constantly changing the way that I think. My biggest concern is I wanted to sound like a subject matter expert, but I also wanted to sound natural so that I would be relatable. I think that is one of the hardest things as a PIO is being relatable to someone who doesn't know what you do, so that you invite them to ask questions, but you also set boundaries. The activities that I engage in as a PIO on a daily basis vary. I could be preparing the SAC for a press conference. I could be preparing quotes for one of his press releases. I work on a regular basis with the United States Attorney's Office and our other federal law enforcement components. I also have a responsibility to make sure that the SAC visits congressional members and leaders in our area, and also that we are conducting community outreach as much as we can to educate the public on what we do. As an IOI serving as the PIO, those two occupations are actually quite complementary because many of the questions that we get are about the regulations. And sometimes even when we are conducting a law enforcement operation, many times it does tie back to the regulations and release of information or federal protocol. If someone came to me and said they were interested in becoming a PIO at ATF, I would certainly tell them to go for it. And in order to do that, you've got to be patient, and you have to be able to educate not only the media, but the public, other federal law enforcement partners, other public information officers, and you also have to be innovative. You have to want to do the public information officer position.